Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on your time zone. I'm Mark O'Brien of CM First Group and also the Worldwide User Group sponsorships. It's been a great response to today's event from people throughout our worldwide community, and we've got a really exciting webcast planned for the community today. I'm joined here with our user group president. You can see the people's, there we go. Myself, Roger Griffith, who's our user group president, myself, and then Kiyoshi Terasawa and John Rhodes of CM First. We're going to do the first lightning talk, and then Dmitry Kuznetsov will do the second lightning talk. We have a lot of leading edge activities going for both the TUI and Plex as well as for the IBM and today's broadcast. First up, as always, we have a poll question for you. And that is, what is your 5-year plan? And with that, I think we mean your organization's plan, not your personal plan. It could be the same. So would you replace your application, rewrite your application, stay the course and reuse it, or other? Can we see the results of the survey? So half of you are replacing the application, and 30% are staying the course, and only 10% want to rewrite, or another 10% for other. So pretty interesting, in line with some other information that we've seen on market research. And now I'm going to turn things over to Roger Griffith, the Worldwide User Group President for CA2E and CA Plex. And Roger's got a number of survey information. Then following Roger will be the lightning talks. For first one will be analyzing TUI or sign-on CA Plex with AI. And the second lightning talk will be seamlessly connecting your IBM to anything fast. Okay, Roger, please
Thank you, Mark.
Illuminate us with the latest results of your survey.
Thank you, Mark. So it's very important to us as a planning team that we make sure that our user community is in line with our users, those of you who are using Plex and TUI, to make sure that everything that we do going forward adds value to your user experience and is really helping the community as much as possible. With that being said, we sent out a survey a few weeks ago to try and get information from the community that helps tell us kind of where they're at right now and where they're going, certainly in the next 5 years with these tools. So I'm just going to give you some of the kind of a high-level summary of what we learned from that survey. And we also encouraged people to sign up for a one-on-one phone conversation with myself, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that later in this webinar. But as far as the survey goes, from what we got back, it was about 50-50 split between Plex and TUI, and that's about what we expected. We asked, are you currently on maintenance? And the vast majority, 65%, are on maintenance, and 30% are not, and about 5% of you are not sure. For those of you who are using Plex, the vast majority of you, 58%, are on 7.2.1, and on TUI, the vast majority of the respondents are on version 8.7. As far as who's are you planning to upgrade, the majority, 43%, responded yes, that they are planning to upgrade their version of Plex or TUI. Okay, so another important question that we asked is, are you doing new development or just maintaining your existing applications? And the majority are doing maintenance only at 54%, 46% are doing new development. So we got a pretty good balance there of new versus maintenance only. We asked how many of you have attended conferences in the past, and 70% of you have, with 30% have not. The most important question for us as a planning committee are you planning to attend the 2026 conference in the spring? Sorry about the spelling of conference there. But what's interesting is that only 26% responded yes. 43% responded no, but what's positive about this is that there are 31% of you who are undecided. So what we really need to do in order to go forward with this next conference is we've got to get those of you who are in that undecided category off the fence, and we need to get you into that yes category. So if we can get you to change from undecided to yes, we're at about 70% who would be at a yes, and that's really where we need to be. The last thing we ever want to do is hold a conference that has little to no value to the community. It'd probably be the last conference we ever held, and we just don't want to do that. So we want to make sure that as we go forward, that we're providing meaningful conferences and they're going to be well attended. So if you can go to the next slide, please. Okay, so we're looking for what is the future of our community going forward. And when I think of the future, I just think of 5 years. Nothing beyond that is really relevant. So we're really focused on where we're at today and where we're going to be in the next 5 years. And as I mentioned, the survey and the feedback of that survey is what we're using to help guide us in our decisions as far as where we go from here. Certainly the participation and planning in the conference is going to dictate how we proceed. We definitely need to get the user community to jump on board with us here and help us with this next conference, and make sure that it's a conference that is not only meaningful but has content that adds value to the user community. And so we're going to be talking more about that as we go forward, but we're really just trying to get a good feedback from the community as far as where we're at. We've talked about what kind of tracks do we offer going forward. We've always offered Plex and TUI, usually technology, and now we're looking at, do we add a fourth track or do we merge some of these tracks? So as we saw from the poll question, there's a lot of you who are looking to replace your Plex and TUI applications, either by purchasing maybe canned software or maybe rewriting some of your applications. But to think that we're going to continue to take our applications with Plex and TUI and that they're going to last for the next 10, 20 years is probably not realistic. And so that's why everyone's looking to make sure, what should we be doing today? Where do we go from here? And so that's something that we're really trying to be of as much help as we can in whatever your efforts are going forward. So we talked a little bit about that spring 2026 conference. We need to figure out, what's the theme for this conference? What is the location for this conference? And then of course, making sure that we've got enough participation to justify, everything that we do. It takes a lot of work to put these conferences on. We usually spend about 1 year in heavy duty planning and just putting this thing together, figuring out, what are the tracks, what are the sessions, who are speakers, what does that content look like? And so we're really about a little less than 1 year out from the conference. And so now is where things get real serious. So we're going to be looking for everyone on this webcast here to hopefully type in some comments into the chat and give us your feedback on where you see this thing going. So, next slide, please. Okay, so as I mentioned, there's really two ways that we can get this feedback from you. Either you can send an email to roger@plextui.com, and we'd love it if you would offer to do a short phone call with me to just get your information and get a better feel for where you're at as a user community member. And or fill out the survey if you have not done it yet, and you'll get a $5 Starbucks gift card for doing so.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Roger. It was really, I think it was illuminating and exciting to kind of put your fingers on the pulse of the community about what's going on there. Our next poll question is, will you be attending the next CA2E or CA Plex Worldwide User Conference? So the options are yes in person, or yes virtually, or no, or maybe a maybe. So what do our results look like, Summer? So yes in person is 25%, only 6% virtually, but 25% saying no, that they wouldn't be attending, and then 44% maybe. So there you go, Roger. It could be, if you can convert those maybes into yeses, we're looking at 70, 69, 70%. So thank you very much for that feedback, audience. Next up, we've got our first lightning talk featuring Kiyoshi and John, and we're going to be talking about bots and modernization support and all things AI for both CA2E sign-on as well as CA Plex.
All right, thank you, Mark. Yeah, so I'm John Rhodes. I'm going to kind of kick things off here, talk about some exciting new features we've added to our CM Evolve IT product, especially around modernization, around analyzing and modernizing CA2E and CA Plex applications. And then I'll turn things over to Kiyoshi to give a quick demo on that. Okay. So there's the agenda. We're talking about our new bot capabilities and what's coming after that. So I think a lot of you have probably seen maybe a quick overview of what CM Evolve IT does for CA2E and CA Plex, but just for the folks that haven't, just a quick introduction here. What this product does, it's a static analysis product that takes information from your CA2E model or your CA Plex model, or even your Lansa model if you're using that, along with all the generated sources, the COBOL, RPG, the DDS, SQL, etc., that make up the application, and parses those and then bring those into a big data, metadata database, GraphDB. Okay, we also take information in from menus or report information or other types of information that are relevant to the application. Okay, and then once it's in this Evolve IT repository, then you can do a lot of cool stuff as far as analysis. Okay, so we can do an AI search using RAG, retrieval automated generation. Also, we can do recursive searches. We can walk the entire call graph, for example, of a complex 2E application that might be hundreds of levels deep and find out what it's really doing as part of that call graph, which is very difficult, possible to do by hand, but very difficult to do with the built-in CA2E tools. And CA Plex kind of the same way, that yeah, there's some built-in tools that if you're a real expert developer, you can eventually figure out what an application does, and but it takes sometimes weeks or even months to do that analysis without using a product like CM Evolve IT. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about a new bot feature we've added just recently that lets you automate the process of analysis. Okay, and then some of the outputs you can get out of Evolve IT. For example, you can get, again, analysis reports, for example, or more recently, we've done a fair amount of research and development into code generation or code transformation. So maybe you're wanting to go from CA2E reports to a product like Jasper reports or Crystal reports, and we've put in some functionality to automate processes like that. Okay, so we'll see some of that in the demonstration. Okay, so the new features, really they've been very focused on the CA2E and CA Plex community. We also support COBOL applications, but for this recent announcement, we'll be focused on CA2E and CA Plex. And where this really helps you, I think, is in scoping and planning major projects like a modernization, or maybe implementing a package. Usually when you're implementing a package, like for example, Salesforce. Yeah, Salesforce may cover 70 to 80% of what your 2E application does or your CA Plex application does. Then you have 20, 30% that has to be either replicated in a custom Salesforce coding, or maybe you want to put that into a separate application that interfaces with Salesforce. So this product really helps with that scoping and planning by getting counts of the objects, how the objects related, how complex are the objects, looking at what the natural subsystems are, what the fracture planes are that make up the application that you may want to transform in a more modular fashion. And we all know that our 2E and Plex applications are typically very large, involving thousands of screens, typically tens of thousands of functions. We've seen cases where CA2E systems are well over 100 million lines of generated code. So really large stuff. So that's where you really need tools to come in and help you with that. And I think our bot capability is going to really be a nice feature for people. Okay, so still coming up with the logo and everything, but we added this in a beta version of the product. So folks that have Evolve IT can request that, or if you don't have it, you can certainly request a trial and take a look at it. But what it is basically a scenario-based batch processing feature that lets you do a repetitive process over your model, your repository, using both automation and AI. Okay, so it looks at the repository data that we've parsed in. It looks at the source code we've also parsed in. That could be the action diagram for CA2 and CA Plex, but also the code that's generated is also available. We've introduced the concept of asset groups, which are groups of related objects. So it might be all objects that are in a call tree, all objects are related to a particular set of reports. And then you can use the bot on this asset group and get an answer for the entire asset group. So I think very powerful there. And then we do, of course, put AI into that. We have different models that can be used. OpenAI and is probably our #1, but we also have the ability to add others like Llama or even IBM Granite to the mix. So if you're using other types of AI, we can incorporate that typically. And then the outputs, really a wide variety. We'll see today, I think, some PDF reports that can be created, also refactored source code. I think we're going to see a case where CL gets converted to Java, and just in general process automation. And we'll see an example of that as well. Okay, so I think that's what I wanted to do for an introduction. And I think, Kiyoshi, can I turn it over to you now to do a demonstration?
So, yep. So before I do talk about the slide, I quickly do some demo on the Evolve IT. Just a quick idea, what's this gonna be connected to the bot? I show some idea. So this is 2E application is loaded, and so I do just a quickly detail for this EFR edit file to user. So we have some predefined query, so it's called gen unit. So this is kind of like a main function which is external, and then calling internal function. Well, this one probably doesn't have fun, but the create object, change object, delete object is called. So this whole function become one source. So we have a kind of query like this. So this could be useful for some scenario. And also we define some menu. So menu has like a 3 item and 1 sub menu, and then calling some function. So can do quickly for analysis query. So it's showing up very quick, 34 table view accessed by within this call graph, and then 71 function appear in whole call graph from that menu entry, and then 1 sub menu, and then 32 message used, and then 21 panel is there. And it's a DDS source is visible too, so lots of things is handy. So we have a kind of built-in this kind of analysis capability using the level of IT. Now back to slide. So we can use that analysis data plus maybe AI to do something fun report. So this one is a first scenario request is I want to have report for the TUI program. So program means a main external function plus any internal function together. So like I showed, there's a quick way to list the functions in the single shot. So that means we can iterate each function, visit, and then just all called internal function together. And then also we have action diagram, we have source code, etc. So let's say we want to output all each function's parameter information and maybe field and condition with internal value and constant. If they use constant, then you just show the constant and then action diagram and explain as business rule. So that's kind of scenario, and that's combined with the scripting way. I would say more workflow for this EV bot is not the AI agent, but probably workflow is a suitable case. So then, well, another request is, so this one is, so within the call graph, well, probably people use external user program or, those, then it may be many times it's involved the CL. So want to have from main menu and just list all the called CL program within the call graph. Okay, so just list the program, and then we know the language, we have source associated. So just we can list CL. Then maybe, yeah, just the CL, just explain using AI. So just the CL is, consumed by a generative AI, and then it's explained as much as best they can, he can, she can. And then, well, extra, maybe ask to convert to Java for that CL too. So that kind of thing is also, and then, summarize it and then PDF and then as a separate source as well. Scenario 3, this is real one I'm currently working on. So I want to script the green screen QA steps for functional test automation using, some automation, RPA tool. So it's required the location of the field on the green screen. Well, let's say, we have list of panel and then DDS source is there. Okay, just a call graph by using the entry point. So it's not trivial job, as you see the panel, 27 panel or whatever is there. Well, for each DDS, we could, this one we're not using AI, but we have scan engine for DDS, and then extract information like a field name, position, line number, etc., and then output as required format, and then download for the use of other thing. So that's kind of scenario based. We could have a different scenario. It's based on the customer request or internal project requirement, etc. We adding these things more. So this is some sample for the TUI report. So this one has a parameter from the restricting the application ID, and it's accessing this access path, and then this action diagram using this field, and then it has a type and the length in the one shot, and then there's a condition used, and then it's a base coverage where that's internally it's 1 equal 1 and then equal that number. So then so that kind of information we can make it together, and then its action diagram is there. Then we can create a business rule based on UI using the AI. We have a predefined prompt for the TUI. It's a little better understanding to what the TUI action diagram looks like. We could improve, but so it does understand what the TUI action diagram is, and then it's output like this. Well, this is sample bot scenario we have now. So that there's I don't cover everything, but so there's some would say AI powered, which is integrated with AI, but some like just using our statistic data to do. And something interesting like work field usage. So within the generation unit of function, I mean, well, how the work field is used between the, the internal functions within the external function. So that's kind of report. Well, if you know 2E, that's how nasty sometimes it is. So that kind of thing we could. And for Plex too, so we have a similar concept to report. So someone saying AI powered. Yep. So it's there. So yeah, with CML mobile PNAB bot could provide great value for your daily or maybe analysis of modernization task to help the documenting, and then especially people doesn't know Plex 2E maybe get same time, but also who doesn't know maybe get some idea without bothering the 2E Plex developer too. So that's the thing. That's a good part. And then yeah, we are adding a new bot as requested or as required. So sorry, it's short, but yeah, that's about. Thank you.
Great. Well done, John and Kiyoshi. Like to make the comment also, Evolve IT has been, in terms of dashboard and interface, that we're making it much more accessible for people who are analysts and business, especially business analysts, for analyzing daily or modernization tasks as well too. People who might not be familiar with the application itself. And I think we have another poll question coming up. Third question for today is modernizing IBM I control logic on your radar. So it could be yes, we're looking at workload automation products. Yes, we're looking at rewriting to Java or C# or perhaps other language, or no, not at this time. Can we see the responses, please? So overwhelmingly, not looking at modernizing control logic at this time. However, about 1 in 8 is looking at workload automation products. So that's interesting. Could be good follow-up questions there. And now I'd like to introduce Dmitry Kuznetsov, a first-time speaker at one of our webcasts. But he's got some really exciting topic, connecting your IBM I to anything fast. So Dmitry, welcome aboard to the worldwide community of 2 Plex users, and we're really excited about having you today and sharing some of your knowledge and enthusiasm with us.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mark. And hello, everyone. Please do let me know if you can see my screen. This is the first time I'm using this webinar software. So, all right, while it's loading, quick introduction. My name is Dmitry Kuznetsov. I'm Chief Product Officer here at Programmers.io. And the main focus of our company is to help customers modernize, migrate, or make the most out of their critical systems of record that many of those are running on IBM I AS400 platform. A large subset of our customers do operate on Sign-on and Plex. So this is, it's great to be here. And Brian, just to confirm, do you guys see the
yes.
PowerPoint?
We see your PowerPoint slide now.
Fantastic. So for the purpose of this presentation, I will focus on our modernization angle, which is a little bit different, complementary, I would say, to what John and Kiyoshi covered a few moments ago, where we focus on integrations, and this is more of a sales slide. I'll skip a lot of fluff here, but our integration approach is to keep things that work, maximize the use of components that work already, but make it easier to package them as reusable component to build modern experiences, real-time integrations on top of those. And from the architectural perspective, we see that creating this integration layer on top of legacy applications, we call it a meta layer, a layer about layers, sounds very fancy, is a challenge that many customers struggle with, right? And it supports any type of modernization model, whether you plan to replace your legacy system with a new one during transitional state. This solid integration layer that keeps the systems in bidirectional sync is critical. For customers that plan to stay on the legacy platforms, again, defining that standards-based integration layer that can interact with external systems in real time, again, is very important. And we developed tooling to make that journey a little bit easier. And in general, enterprise integrations are never easy. Devil is always in details, and as much as on the sales side, it's convenient to say that, yep, it's just drag and drop solution, easy, nice. For us technical folks, we know that there's a lot of uncertainties, there are a lot of considerations, and the tooling supports this, automates typical patterns. So, and that's what I'm going to demonstrate on this session. Maybe I'll start with a demo and then explain how it works. The use case is very simple. We have an IBMI application that has, in this case, orders. And it's not sign-on Plex, but it's just a regular application that saves the data in DB2 tables. And I want the changes replicated in real time to my AWS data warehouse, as well as Salesforce. So let me demonstrate that first, and then I'll explain how it works with two of our products. As you can see here, the records are synchronized with, and let me just switch to my SQL and show the table content here. Right, as you can see, the top status is shipped, and then I go to our Salesforce instance and refresh our order list. So right now, all three applications are in sync. And let me make a change here in, let's say, to invoiced. Press enter. Check if it made it to Salesforce. Look at that magic. It worked every time I look at it. It's and then of course checking our yes, you can see that the status of that order record in RDS and AWS database also updated in real time. So how did we do that? There's a lightweight change data capture agent that we developed that is deployed directly to IBMI that listens for journal entries in real time. So it's not a poller, it's not something that wakes up once in 5 minutes. Instantaneously, it receives the journal entry the moment it's flushed into receiver. And then it passes on to a middleware layer. In this case, we use standalone InfoConnect Hub, which is a lightweight component that can be deployed anywhere, and it receives the data from InfoCDC, the change requests, and pushes them directly to MySQL database. Nothing is needed, no additional software, just the hub, and InfoCDC can support this use case. In addition, we have a MuleSoft instance, and MuleSoft is a fairly popular middleware platform, and it comes in open source, free version, and commercial managed supported version. So our product, our connector works for both, and In this case, it's just a little bit way to, and maybe I can quickly demonstrate that. It's a kind of graphical drag and drop interface for stitching together integration flows. In this case, it just uses our connectors to listen for change events in a data queue, and then receives them, processes them, publishes to Salesforce, where it has a standard connector. Again, two flavors. One is for companies that already leverage middleware platform like MuleSoft, they have built-in connectors. And another is no connector at all, where all configuration happens through REST APIs. Highly scriptable, easy, no coding required. Now on to the next use case, and here I'm showing a Postman-based API configuration for our InfoConnect hub. And here, the other very popular use case is to create REST APIs based on your existing programs, right? And for example, you have a program on IBMI that executes business logic. In this case, it imports orders from external systems. And if we look at the program definition, here again, it's not necessarily sign-on or Plex, but the model works, the idea works for pretty much any program, regardless of how it was generated. COBOL, PL1, about to be sunset by IBM when it comes to compilers. And the idea is that we take the signature for that program, and we can define REST API that calls that program without any coding. Here we can show how the program definition is structured. We pass the program name, library, define the URI for that REST API, and more importantly, we talk about parameter mapping, right? And as you can see here, the types and the sizes of the parameters match exactly, and it supports pretty much any level of nestedness. Of course, you can also script generation of this with AI-based tooling, and it's fairly straightforward way to turn any backend program into REST API. Nothing to generate, nothing to deploy, and the same tool that supports your database replication also supports your REST APIs, right? And then after I defined this program call within InfoConnect Hub, now I can show how to test it, how to use it from the functional API perspective. As you can see, there is nothing IBMI specific. We don't call any programs, we don't pass any parameters. It's a regular API. Here's my URI, the normal order data that comes in. And if I'm gonna find this, so as you can see that the latest number is here, maybe I can bump it up by 1. And the status to created, just to show I send this. And if we refresh, look at that. It created this new order in real time. Again, we had a program on the back end. We just configured that program within InfoConnect Hub, and it turned it immediately into REST API. Didn't generate anything, and made it available for external API consumers to call this program. So, and finally, the last piece that I'm not going to demonstrate, I can just talk through that. Similar to program calls, we have a screen automation abilities, again, within the same tool, where user actions, the sequence of actions on the green screen, can be presented as REST API, scripted, and the information can be passed from request to screen flows, and then back from screen flows to the response. Again, highly scriptable, something that can be plugged into AI layers, right? And whether it's based on the analysis coming from a tool like Evolve IT, or even manual definitions, other scripts, AI-based components, you can quickly create that on the fly. And that is that. I think that's all I had to present for this session. Hope that was helpful, interesting, and please do reach out in case you have any questions or would like to get more information about this.
Great. Thank you very much, Dima. And now we're going to come back and we have a fourth question to ask the audience, survey question. Now it'd be, which of these technologies are you researching? Are you looking at API integration, for example, MuleSoft or other low-code solutions? Looking at data warehouses or data lakes, would be Snowflake being an example there, or CDC, change data capture or replication, or none of the above. So which of these technologies do you think could be of interest? Wow, not very adventurous crowd today. 14% of you are looking at APIs, API integration. No one looking at data warehouses or data lake. Then CDC or replication was only 70%, and 79%, I guess, were just concentrating on keeping the application running to the satisfaction of your bosses and management. So that's a bit of a surprise. Well, maybe there's another survey question out there, Roger, saying what if you could spend money on research, what would you want to take a look at these days? Now we have we've done the second quarter, and then usually there are some questions for coming in from the audience or for our panelists.
Yes, Mark, got a few out there.
Great, John.
First one, yeah, when will the location and date for the next conference be selected? I guess that's a question for Roger.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked a little bit about this next conference, and do we hold it at a new location or do we go back to Austin? And a lot of it's going to depend on what kind of participation that we get. So if we can draw a good turnout, we'll go. Florida's always a great destination. We would certainly like to do that again. But if we don't draw, good numbers in terms of participation, most likely it'll be in Austin again. But like I say, we're just in the planning part of that right now, where we're trying to get a feel for what does the community want.
Okay. Next question was, how do I access the survey?
Okay, everyone should have received an email. They've been several have been sent out, so there's a link to the survey on the emails that you've received. And if not, just reach out to me, Roger at plex2e.com or at info@plex2e.com, and we'll make sure that we get that link sent to you so you can participate in the survey. And we'd also really like it if you would be willing to do about a 15-minute phone conversation with myself. So either way would be great, but we really would appreciate if you would just be willing to take a few minutes of your time to speak with me on a personal phone call to talk about, what are your plans for Plex and TUI going forward.
And you get a Yeti, a really nice Yeti mug too, for participating in that, Roger.
Exactly.
No expenses spared for you to connect with Roger. How about another question, John?
Here's one. Is there a free version of Evolve IT, or maybe they mean evaluation version?
I can take that. Yeah, we do offer a cloud version of Evolve IT for people who are in our managed application services program, and I can look into that with product management and say, we could make a 30-day version available for people to try out. I think that would have some merit, and at our next product management meeting, I'll bring that topic up with that, making it easy for people to sample. I know there are with the AI stuff, there's additions and version. Latest version I think is only like 2 months old, so we're updating it all the time as well too. So thanks for that inquiry.
Okay, I got a question here for Dimitri. Actually, this is from me. I was curious. We've looked at some products with customers to populate Snowflake from IBMI, and had a lot of problems with throughput, getting large numbers of changes updated to Snowflake. And then, do you have any comments or on how your product would maybe help solve that type of problem?
Yes, so of course, every customer's environment is different, and depending on the load profile and the number of changes flushed through the pipes, there is a solution that will support that load. There are several industry standards and best practices on how to architect data replication pipelines. There are highly throughput event-driven and streaming platforms such as Kafka that supports that scalability and can be tuned to process multiple tables, multiple change streams in parallel. So at the end, some of our customers, they operate on fairly large transaction volumes, tens of thousands of transactions per second. And it works well, but again, I would never say that if it's easy, we can make it work. A lot of things that can slow things down in the middleware, at the target system, and then at the collection of these changes. Again, it depends on the methodology, whether you try to push everything at once or just detect the changes. And then with the changes, what would be the way to throttle them out and avoid any peaks and volumes.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's what we have for questions, Mark.
Okay, great. Well, I get people, that concludes today's webcast. I want to thank our speakers, as well as for the lightning talks, as well as Roger sharing the information on what's kind of on the pulse of the community these days. And we'll see you at our next quarterly webcast. Will be at the end of the summer. So thank you for your participation today. And there's an exit coming on here, and then you'll also get a copy of today's recording as well too. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great and safe summer in the Northern Hemisphere and winter in the Southern Hemisphere. Bye-bye for now.